My name is Darcy, and I've spent the last 11 months watching the man I love disappear. Not literally. Marcus was right there, every morning, every night, but the version of him that used to laugh at bad movies and steal bites off my plate had been replaced by someone who set 3 alarms and fell asleep mid-sentence on the couch. He worked doubles at the logistics company. Weekends. Holidays. His birthday fell on a Tuesday in February, and he clocked in anyway. I packed him a sandwich with a candle stuck in it as a joke. He cried a little. We both pretended he didn't. The trip was supposed to be our exhale. 12 days on the Oregon coast, a rental cottage, no schedules, no obligations. Marcus had a folder on his phone. Saved restaurants. A hiking trail with a waterfall only accessible during low tide. He'd been building that folder for 8 months. When I told my mother about it, she smiled the way she always does right before she reaches into your chest and rearranges things. You'll take Ksyusha with you, she said. Not a question. Never a question with her. I felt the folder closing before I even said a word. Ksyusha is 23 years old. I want to be clear about that because my mother has a gift for making her sound fragile, like she's still the gap-toothed 7-year-old who used to follow me to school and cry at the gate. She is not fragile. She is 23, employed part-time at a nail salon, and fully capable of booking her own travel if she wanted to.
She didn't want to.
She wanted ours. My mother's logic was seamless in the way only manipulative logic can be. Ksyusha had been stressed. Ksyusha needed a reset. Ksyusha deserved the ocean too. Each sentence delivered with this quiet, loaded grief, as if my refusal to fund my sister's vacation was a character flaw she'd always suspected, and was now confirmed. Either you take her or you're not going anywhere, she said. I told her we weren't going anywhere together then. The silence on the phone was theatrical.
Practiced.
I knew it well. What I didn't expect was Marcus sitting at the kitchen table when I got off the call, having heard every word through the thin wall of our apartment. He set down his coffee mug slowly. Call her back, he said. My stomach dropped completely. I stood there holding my phone like it had just betrayed me. Marcus. His name came out careful, like I was defusing something. He didn't look up right away. He turned the mug in a slow circle on the table, that thing he does when he's working through something he's already decided. I knew that gesture. I'd learned to read him the way you learn a house, knowing which floorboards creak before you step on them. Call her back, he said again. Tell her Ksyusha can come. I sat down across from him. You worked every weekend for a year. This trip is yours. You built it. I built it for us. He finally looked at me. And us includes your family, whether we like it or not. It sounded generous. It looked generous. But something underneath it felt wrong in a way I couldn't name yet, like a photograph hung slightly crooked that nobody else notices. She'll take over, I said quietly. You know how this goes. He nodded like he already knew and had already accepted it. That was the part that unsettled me most. Not the agreement. The resignation inside it. Like he'd made a calculation I hadn't been shown. I called my mother back. We drove 8 hours to the coast. Ksyusha sat in the back seat with her AirPods in and her bare feet propped against my headrest the entire way. She didn't offer to split gas. She didn't ask once if we needed to stop. She scrolled, she napped, she woke up hungry and announced it like a weather report. Marcus drove the whole stretch without complaint. The cottage was everything he'd described, gray-shingled, salt-worn, sitting 50 feet from a beach that smelled like cold iron and freedom. I watched his face when we pulled up. For one unguarded second, he looked like himself again. The version with the laugh. Ksyusha walked in first, dropped her bag in the larger bedroom, and called out, "This one's mine. The light's better." It was the room Marcus had booked for us. I knew because he'd shown me the listing photos 4 times, pointing at the morning light through those exact windows. He carried our bags to the smaller room without a word. That night, I watched him eat dinner quietly while Ksyusha dominated the conversation. Her job, her friends, a boy she was seeing who sounded exhausting. Marcus listened, nodded, refilled her water glass. I reached under the table and found his hand. It was already a fist. By day 3, I understood what Marcus had calculated. He was documenting everything. Not obviously. not with a notepad or anything theatrical. But I started noticing the way he glanced at his phone after Ksyusha made a demand, the quiet screenshots he took of our shared expense app when she added charges without asking, the grocery run she sent him on alone, the kayak rental she booked under his card, citing a family discount that didn't exist, the low-tide trail, the one he'd saved for 8 months, she vetoed on day 2. Too muddy. Too far. She wanted to sit at the Boardwalk Cafe instead and have someone else pay for overpriced clam chowder. Marcus paid, smiled, said nothing. That evening I found him on the porch alone, watching the water. I sat beside him and waited. I needed her here, he said finally. I turned to look at him. Your mother has done this your whole life. His voice was steady, almost gentle. You've always absorbed it alone. I needed to see it clearly, all of it, in one place, undeniable. He paused. And I needed your mother to see that I see it. The ocean moved in the dark below us. What happens now? I asked. He smiled for the first time all trip. On day 7, Marcus called my mother. I didn't know until it was already happening. I walked out of the bathroom to find him on the porch, phone to his ear, voice measured and unhurried the way it gets when he's most serious. I stood at the screen door and listened. He didn't yell. He didn't perform. He read figures, actual numbers, line by line. The overtime shifts, the months of missed weekends, the exact dollar amount saved. Then Ksyusha's portion, the bedroom, the kayaks, the meals, the boardwalk, the gas calculated per mile from our apartment to the coast. I'm not asking for reimbursement, he said. I'm making sure you understand the precise cost of what you demanded. My mother said something I couldn't hear. No, Marcus said quietly. Darcy didn't put me up to this. Darcy has spent her entire life softening your edges for everyone else's comfort. That ends now. Another pause. When we get home, things will be different. Not hostile. Not dramatic. Just different. I need you to sit with that before we're back. He hung up without waiting for her response. He turned and found me standing at the door. Neither of us spoke for a long moment. Then he said, You should have never had to do this alone. I finally exhaled. Ksyusha found out that night. My mother called her. I could reconstruct the entire conversation from Ksyusha's face as it happened. The confusion first, then the indignation assembling itself in real time, then the performance of hurt that our family had perfected across generations. She came downstairs with her phone pressed to her chest like a wound. You made him call Mom? Her voice had that particular pitch, the one designed to make me feel like the aggressor in a situation I hadn't started. I didn't make him do anything, I said. She's upset. She's been crying. Marcus was in the kitchen. He didn't come out. He understood this moment belonged to me. Ksyusha. I kept my voice level. Marcus worked 365 days without a break to build something for us. You took the better bedroom, charged his card without asking, and canceled the one thing he'd been planning for months. Mom threatened our relationship to get you here. None of that upset you. She opened her mouth. I'm not fighting, I said. I'm just done pretending those things didn't happen. The silence that followed was different from my mother's silence. Less practiced. More real. Something moved behind her eyes. Not quite guilt, but its younger sibling. She sat down slowly. That was enough for now. We drove home on a Sunday. Ksyusha was quiet the entire 8 hours. Not the performative quiet of someone building resentment, something more honest than that. She stared out the window, and somewhere around hour, for she said, without turning around, I didn't realize how much he worked for this. I didn't fill the silence with reassurance. I just said, Now you do. Marcus kept his eyes on the road, but I saw the corner of his mouth soften. My mother called 3 days after we returned. Not to apologize exactly. She doesn't have that particular gear, but she spoke differently.
Carefully.
Like someone navigating a room where the furniture had been rearranged and she wasn't certain of the new layout. She asked how the trip was. I told her it was necessary. She was quiet for a moment, then said Ksyusha had mentioned wanting to pay Marcus back for the kayaks. I told her that wasn't the point. She said she understood. I'm not sure she fully did, but the fact that she tried meant something. Marcus and I went back to the coast 4 months later. Just us. Same cottage, same bedroom with the morning light, same low-tide trail with the waterfall he'd saved for 8 months. He cried a little on that trail. We both pretended he didn't. Some things come full circle when you finally stop letting people stand in the middle of them.